Well, let me walk you through when theft happens at work, in the workplace. How would you investigate these type of situations um, the right way? And I mean really the HR way, the way that will prevent you as well as your organization from any um, challenges in the future, especially if things goes to court and you have to defend your decision that you are making based on whatever investigation that happened, whatever theft that may happen. So I want to really walk you through, that process in general and how it works. So the first thing is like, how do you know? How do you know that there was some theft that happened by maybe one of your employees? There could be three cases there. Maybe the first one is like you've seen them with your own eyes. That's a possibility. The other option is someone may have told you, so they would come to you and just tell you, here's what happened and here's what they observed. The third option is you may have seen them using the technology that's out there. Or it could be a combination of the three of those or two of them. So once now you knew about what happened, then what do you need to do next? The next thing you need to do is you need to really verify what you know. And how would you verify that? So if there was some witnesses, you want to make sure that you talk to those witnesses, if there are any. If there are tools, for example, camera footage or something, you want to make sure that you have that. Um, and you want to make sure that you use statements. If it's you actually that observed these situations, then you do want to make sure that you take a statement of yourself, but not you who's going to write it for yourself. You're going to have one of your co-managers write that statement for you, and basically just saying what you have observed. If the witnesses or someone comes to you and they mention uh, those situations or those incidents to you, then you want to make sure that you write their statements as well. A statement is really a legal document that tells your organization that this is what happened. It's not you. It doesn't tell you. It tells your organization what happened. And you are there just to represent the organization because your organization is really telling you that you want to make sure that when situations happen, this is how situations like theft happen, this is how you need to proceed from there. So you're actually trying to remove yourself. You're basically just applying what your company is telling you to do. So those statements are very important to show that you're only applying what your company is telling you. Well, now here's that time that you need to meet with the alleged thief to discuss what happened. And again, I highlighted in there that it's just alleged. You're not accusing them of anything. You're basically just trying to get their side of what happened. Um, you should not jump to any conclusion at this time. So you set up that meeting, and let's say you have everything ready, and your ex is the person who's coming to meet with you to discuss what happened. You really do want to make sure that you have a witness with you. Let's call that witness a Y in this case. Um, you never want to have these meetings without witnesses. Um, and there are best practices in regards to even who the witnesses are. So, for example, if the X is female, you do want to make sure that the Y is female as well. If you are female, then no problem. You could have a male or female there. If the X is male, then that's fine. You could have another male or female. It's not an issue. If the X is a diverse individual, a person who from a diverse background, it is best to have a diverse Y in there as a witness with you. And if you are a diverse yourself, then it's good. Again, the idea behind making sure that you have a witness and they are diverse or female in those cases, it really will prevent you from having a lot of challenges in the future. If things go south and they go to court and they allege that there was some type of mishandling of the investigation, all these details really help you and help your organization show that you are actually fair in your process. Um, Now, let me walk you through just some techniques or one technique that I find very useful to use in these situations. Let's say this is your meeting setup, and what you want to do first is you want to introduce yourself in a formal way. So maybe this person already knows you. You're the manager of this person, or they've seen you so many times. You talk to them. You have wonderful relationship. Whatever the case, during this meeting, you do want to make sure that you do have a formal introduction to yourself. You could start by saying, for example, my name is, of course, you know me, but my part of my job is to make sure that I check on basically everything that gets reported to me to make sure I do follow-ups to investigate if something is needed, and that's why we're having this meeting. So basically, introduce yourself in that formal fashion, and then. Maybe think of sharing a story that may get them to tell you really the truth. And again, you haven't asked them anything yet. You're introducing yourself, and then right after that, you're going to tell them, well, imagine, let me tell you this. Imagine that you have three employees. You've seen them, and those employees, let's call them A, B, and C. And then those employees, you've seen them yourself. Imagine that you've seen them yourself taking a piece of candy or something, not worth a lot, but they took it. That normally you sell those things, and they actually took that without paying for it. So they stole it. You've seen them. You are sure that they didn't pay for it, and then you waited for them until they came back the next day. Then you pulled the first one, the A, and you asked that person why. Why did you take those candy without paying for it? And then that person may say, like, what? Like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. It is not me. It's that person probably has that personality of a complete denial, even though you tell them it's you that have seen them by your own eyes, or others have seen them, or whatever. They're in a complete denial. They don't want to even talk to you about this. They're mad already. They're upset. So it's kind of frustrating to deal with from the get-go. So you do want to, tell your ex during this meeting, like, what do you think? It's kind of frustrating. You've seen them by your own eyes, and as soon as you want to talk to them about what happened, they're like in a complete denial. Try to involve your ex at that time, that person at that time, and see if they agree with you that this type of personality is really frustrating to deal with. And then the next person, you ask them the same question, and then they say, um, you know, only that one time, I never did it before. I swear to you, never after. It's just that one time, and I'm sorry, or whatever the case is. But you get this feeling that they're not really trustworthy. Yeah, maybe they admitted to that situation, but from the conversation with them, would you really trust them? And you can ask this question to your ex, who is sitting there. Like, you could ask them, like, look, the first one kind of sounds like it's kind of frustrating to deal with. The second one is more of like, I wouldn't trust this person, um, just from the way how they talk to me, right? And then that person, the ex that you're sitting with, may agree with you and say yes. And then you tell them about the third person, and the third person you say, well, when I ask them about what happened, they immediately acknowledged. They did say, I'm sorry. They said, I feel ashamed of myself. Um, they may even share with you other instances where they actually took stuff without authorization, and then they may start, explaining the reason, and then say, for example, they may say, I don't have the money, and I feel bad. I have personal situations, I have matters that's going on, and I am so sorry. I don't know what to do. And then they go the direction of they're telling you, I do want to make this right. What can I do to make this right? I'm so sorry, and yes, I have done this situation, and in this incident and others maybe, and all that, but you get the feeling that they are cooperative, and they want to cooperate with you. Then you go back to your ex and ask them, like, what do you think? The first one is kind of frustrating to deal with. It has tough personality. You're just asking them about their side, but they're in a complete denial. The second person is really not a trustworthy. It's just not clicking with you. And then the third person, you have that feeling that you do want to help them. You do want to see what that next step is and how can you proceed from there. And most likely, the person you're talking to will agree with you about these different personalities. Um, and then after you share this story with them, then it comes, some questions there. Then you're gonna start asking that person, the ex, some questions. Um, First, you do want to be very general. Never be specific from the beginning. Just be general. Just ask them, maybe, like, do you know why we're having this meeting? After you told them about this story and after you introduced yourself, they may have a clue what's going on here. And they could be telling you everything you want to hear from the beginning, just from asking this question. If they're not and they're still going with a different direction and saying, I don't know exactly why we're here, then you could still be general, but ask them questions like, walk me through how your day went, the day of the incident, of course. So if it was the day before or that same day, just tell them something general, like, walk me through when you came into work, what did you do until you left. And then try to narrow down the time frame and the location of the incident, and ask questions. If they're trying to go around that exact moment, try to ask them and narrow down your questions toward that area. It really tells them that you do know what's happening and you just want them to get to talk. And if they truly have no clue what you're talking about, then they will still be not able to answer your questions, really. Um, and again, you're not accusing them. This is just a technique to get them to talk to you and tell you the truth. If the truth is they didn't do anything, then that's great. They didn't do anything. Um, uh, the last type of question, if they really don't know anything, then you could come direct at that time and just tell them you are accused of taking whatever without authorization, which is considered like a theft. Considered like theft in accordance to your organization policy, and then ask them, like, what do you have to say about this accusation? Um, um, I am Tell them that you are there, like, your job is to listen to their side and understand their point of view. You're not there to accuse them of anything, and you need to let them know that you just need to report your side, and this is their opportunity to explain their side. Um, in closing, um, make sure that you thank them for explaining their side and let them know that you will report back their side, and get back to them with the next step. And then maybe you could throw out there that last question by saying, oh, it's just anything you want to add. Sometime when you do ask that question, they may really add a lot of information that could be useful to your investigation. Um, Again, your purpose is, you do know or you have seen, or you have statements about what happened, what they allegedly did, but you now are focusing on understanding why, understanding their side, why. So you combine the two stories, or the two sides, to have a better picture for you or for your leaders as those decision makers. Um, then you could let them know that they're going to be now out of work with pay until you basically wrap up this investigation, and then get back to them. Um, Make sure I put here, don't forget that you need to document really the entire investigation, um, uh, from start to finish, what you did, the timeline. It is very important that you document this information, so that when you come up with a decision, whatever that decision is, it could be a written warning, it could be separation of employment, or anything like that. So that documentation really stays with you in your manager file for future need, in case there is a need for that. So that's basically my thought process behind these type of investigations. I just want to share with you because I feel like the more you know, or the better you will do. And good luck.